This is it. Don't worry, Higuruma. I won't let your sacrifice go to waste. Get a load of this guy. What's up, guys? So here we are to cover literally every single reason why the last attempt to gamble at the end of chapter 247 of Jujutsu Kaisen will not work. It just won't. It just won't. I'm sorry, I mean, if it does, I'll do a happy little jig. That's the most Gege's getting out of me, but I don't know. I feel like I know, and you know, and we all know that it's not gonna work. But there are a couple different reasons why, logical, character-wise, narrative-wise, scaling-wise, we got a hefty little chunk to talk about. So let us not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, Who believes it'll work? This is a genuine question. Who believes it will work? I want to know. And I want to know why. Tell me why you think Itadori Yuuji flipping around the executioner's blade as tiny as that bad boy is right now, just piercing this. Tell me why you think it's going to work. Give me a reason. I just want to know why, if you do believe. But don't worry. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about why it won't work. Number one, I think this is the most basic and easy one, though it's the most nebulous and straw man, and obviously it's just us being conditioned and well trained by that filthy little cat. It's Gege Akutami, who writes Jujutsu Kaisen, with the main character Yuji Itadori going up against one of the main antagonists, Ryomen Sukuna, who's at 20 fingers and has revealed basically nothing. Do you really think he's going to give Yuuji this easy of a dub? And I know easy is a hard way to put it, right? Obviously, Higuruma just got cooked. Gojo was cooked. Kashimo's been cooked. Everyone's getting cooked. But, this is Gege we're talking about. You think he's going to I can't even say it properly. You think he's going to give Itadori Yuuji a proper main character moment off the back of Higuruma's hard work, and you really think it's going to be that easy? And have you been reading the same manga as me? Don't worry. If you've been reading Kaisen Jujutsu, just let me know. Let me know if you've been reading Kaisen Jujutsu, where Itadori Yuuji is the perfect main character who gets every single dub he ever deserves, and nothing ever goes wrong in his life, where Nobara's still alive, and Megami's not a... I was going to say a horrible thing, but Megami is still with us and everything's fantastic and Gojo's still watching and supporting. Yeah, obviously there's that reason. It's just Gege Akutami writing Jujutsu Kaisen, and Itadori Yuuji succeeding would be way out of character for Gege. But he's a transcendental factor of the narrative. Let's actually go with some in-narrative stuff and maybe some meta-narrative stuff on why I don't think this will work. Number one, a simple one that we haven't really seen, and ironically enough is more complex than simple. Remember, this Executioner's Blade, ignore it, I know it looks like Kamutoke, but the Executioner's Blade, it's a cursed technique, fundamentally. Notably, it's not even really a cursed tool in the way that, Kamutoke itself is, where it has the base properties of an actual, tangible, physical weapon, and then it has an after effect of, boom, lightning, if it's swung a specific way, or however Kamutoke activates. No, the Executioner's Blade is purely a cursed technique, in a similar way that red and blue and purple are all cursed techniques and applications of cursed techniques. And we know, based on what happened in 247 and 246, and basically what we saw throughout the entire Gojo versus Sukuna fight, Sukuna is a master of domain amplification. He takes it to higher levels than we've ever seen in the entire series, only rivaled by Higuruma, the man who he just cut down. And with that being the case, considering the Executioner's Blade is literally just an application and an extension of a cursed technique, it'd be hard-pressed, it'd be wild, but it would make 100% established narrative sense for Sukuna to just activate domain amplification and instantly give it. Instantly just take care of it. Because it's a cursed technique. Domain amplification nullifies cursed techniques. And I'm sorry, if domain amplification was able to nullify a 200% hollow purple that Sukuna wasn't ready for and only make him lose his arms, the Executioner's Blade, while it does have a sure execute effect, most likely would fall apart just like any other technique that were to come in contact with Sukuna's level domain amplification. This is an established ability. an established ability that we recently had a whole conversation on in the very same chapter of 247. And this is Ryomen Sukuna, the most advanced user of the ability we've ever seen except for Higuruma Hiromi, and even then Higuruma Hiromi basically loosely copied Sukuna's notes in order to perform the feat that he did, in terms of maintaining the Executioner's Blade. It'd be like that, when it'd be like that, especially when it'd be like that. Would that be very, very sad for Yuji Itadori? For him to just go, don't worry, I got you, Higuruma, hey! And then the blade just disappears? Or like reduces back down to that little tiny cross thing, even if that seems to be a manifestation of the curse technique itself too. I don't even think that's actually real. I think it's something that Higuruma manifests as well, just like he manifests the hammer outside of his domain. I could literally see it happening. It's been well established, it's been talked about a whole bunch, it's very fresh in our minds, and Sukuna is the highest level user of it ever. I could definitely see him whipping that out, and that's one way it couldn't work. Another reason it couldn't work, just on established things within the narrative. We don't know if post-mortem cursed energy is actually a thing. We have not nary a clue. Sure, Higuruma and Kusakabe theorize that, I mean, now that you mention it, I guess. There are certain weird exceptions to that. Like, technically, when you look at the 7-3 slasher, the ratio cleaver, if you will, the 7-3 cutter. That is technically an example of post-mortem curse energy. It is a curse tool imbued with the curse technique of Nanami Kento. Same thing with something like the Prison Realm, which is made out of the remains of a previous sorcerer that allows them to seal things. But notably, those are all things that seem to be fundamentally different from Higuruma's thing, unless I'm reading it wrong or making a mistake. The reason the 7-3 cleaver works so well and was able to absorb Nanami's curse technique is the fact that, once again, it was a tangible object that was very consistently being fueled by Nanami's curse technique and cursed energy. Meaning that the curse technique was able to be imbued into the weapon. The tangible weapon, and its effects were able to maintain themselves. For the Prison Realm, once again, it's made out of the remains of the original sorcerer who, well, is now the Prison Realm, or was the Prison Realm, considering it seems like it's most likely erased. That's how those things work. And once again, unless I'm mistaken, Higuruma manifests the hammer. He manifests the sword. They're all manifestations. They aren't tangible. And sure, you could definitely make an argument that maybe if it were tangible, Higuruma would be able to imbue his technique permanently into that. But like, that'd be a very on-the-fly, on-the-spur thing to do. And with Higuruma falling, some people think he's still alive. I'm leaning towards the camp where he's cooked, considering what he says and the parallel back to Nanami and all the stuff like that. I personally believe he's cooked. And with that being the case, I could very easily see in the point, like, 0.0. That's literally impossible. 0.00001 seconds that Yuji needs to travel the distance between the blade and Sukuna's back, that it just disappears. It apparates, because he could. And once again, he was just wrong. Notably, Kusakabe, been wrong. Higuruma, been wrong. Characters in the series, whenever they theorize, the only things, and this is very questionable of itself, the only things we can 100% verbatim believe are things from the narrator themselves. Even then, sometimes that's questionable. So sure, it's a nice theory that post-mortem cursed energy is a thing, very similar to post-mortem Nen from Hunter x Hunter, but it's just as likely that that thing is not a thing. And they find that out the hard way when Itadori usually slams an empty fist against Sukuna's back. So there's that, considering Higuruma is literally being torn to pieces as we speak. Another thing, notably, well, admittedly, this is less concrete, just because, you know, we don't have previous examples of it, but another just, like, in narrative reason, going with the idea that Gege is very particular about wording and like unknowns and how he specifically consistently manipulates the uncertainty principle in determining whether or not things will happen, aka if something happens that shocks us in JJK, it's not usually because, oh, Gege very specifically said this couldn't happen, then made it happen. It's just that Gege worded things loosely enough that, oh, this interpretation could be valid. And this is going more towards the first idea that I mentioned about Gege himself being the main reason why this would work. It's entirely possible that Executioner's Blade only works in Higuruma's hands. It's entirely possible. He's the judge, the jury, and the executioner. He's the one who decides that. Well, Judge Man is the one who decides that, but he is the executioner. That is his role. And of course, with Itadori Yuuji wielding it, I could very easily see Gege Akutami simply pulling, due to the nature of the executioner's sword being born of Higuruma's technique and the direct contract that Higuruma has with Judge Man, Yuuji Itadori, the person on trial, or formerly on trial, for the crime of mass slaughter in Shibuya, is not allowed to wield the true effects of the blade, and now the sword shall merely be reduced to a weapon of pure cursed energy. And essentially, I can see the one-hit effect simply not working, because once again, Itadori Yuuji is not Higuruma Hiromi. That one difference, it seems so minute, so irrelevant, so stupid, that it would be absolutely undeniable and insane for it to be the reason. But once again, I'm just thinking of reasons why it wouldn't work, and that would be a pretty valid one. Admittedly, we don't have any like concrete statements on how the Executioner's Blade works, but once again, since we don't have any concrete statements about how the Executioner's Blade works, Sukuna's literally experimenting with it, that could easily be a thing. Let's say Itadori Yuuji does get the and he pierces straight into Sukuna, goes straight for his back, scrumdiddly umptious, that multi-muscled monster, yeah, stabs straight into him, boom! And then Sukuna's gonna turn around and be like, that it? That's the sure hit, sure execute? Kid, at best you like scratched me. Speaking of scratching, well, no, admittedly, we see Higuruma pierce Sukuna's hand to, like, presumably Yuuji be able to pierce. Then again, the thing is, though, another reason, this is going more towards scaling, Sukuna's mad durable. We don't know how effective the blade will be on someone who's able to reinforce their body to the max like Sukuna does. We don't. Notably, when Sukuna sacks the hand, you could definitely imply that he believes that the light would simply pierce his body and do the damage anyway. But I could see Gege, once again being Gege, using the idea that, oh, well, Ryoben Sukuna, he's just so unbelievably beefy and bulky, but the blade just bounces off of him. We see earlier on in the series by Yuuji himself that, oh, as long as I have cursed energy, I don't fear blades. And, of course, Ryoben Sukuna has cursed energy, so he may not fear blades, and he could just let it bounce off him. Will that be anticlimactic as all get out? Absolutely. But once again, we'll get into a character reason why Yuuji getting a dub this way could also be extremely anticlimactic. But of course, you know, that's just established stuff, or ironically enough, lack of established stuff in combination with some established stuff. So what other reasons? Why else would this just not work? Well, remember the two parties in this encounter? One, Itadori Yuuji. The other, Ryoben Sukuna. And need I remind you, we have literally seen how these characters stack up speed-wise. It's one of the few things we see. When Ryoben Sukuna feels like moving at all or even remotely seriously, Yuuji simply cannot keep up. Yuuji himself mentions he's just too fast. Remember, this is the same Sukuna. If you think the stats are uniform, you think his body's fully healed, this is the same Sukuna that was able to somewhat keep pace with Satoru Gojo. Someone who should be in multiple speed tiers. Well, maybe not multiple. Actually, probably multiple. Jeez, probably. Multiple speed tiers above Yuuji. This is that same Sukuna. Who knows that Yuuji Itadori's wielding Executioner's Blade. And is coming for his back, because he can sense him. Why doesn't he just move? Like, notably, we don't see him move at 247, because he has Higuruma in front of him, falling and being like, oh, Yuuji, use my powers to save us all. And Yuuji's like, I'll save us all. And Sukuna's like, no, and just leaves. Once again, the speed gap is well established. Yuuji does not scale. It's one of the biggest things I've been seeing. I've been seeing a whole bunch of Higuruma hype. I'm going to tackle that in its own video, but a lot of people are like, oh, Higuruma top 5. Oh, Higuruma top 3. Oh, Higuruma beats Kashimo. He beats Gojo. He beats everybody because he's able to keep up with it. He's not. Very clearly. Did we read the same chapter where Sukuna literally stands there, lets Higuruma charge in, and they have a fencing match, and Sukuna just goes, so you're gonna hit me or what? And literally, that's all that transpires. I don't see the relativity there. And the same thing with Yuuji. Unless Yuuji's been holding back massively for some reason, his speed just should not be enough to actually tag Sukuna. And Sukuna could just leave. He could just vanish. Once again, this is a guy who's been able to disappear on characters before. Remember Choso? You know that guy? You know that DPW? Yeah. He fired his fastest attack at Sukuna. Sukuna let it get mad close, and then he disappeared out of Choso's line of vision and immediately double donutted him. What's the same reason that Ryoben Sukuna couldn't do the exact same thing to Yuuji Itadori? Just disappear out of his line of sight, and then come back, and maybe double donut him. Because once again, Yuuji has managed to survive Sukuna once again, somehow. Mystically, magically, he's the main character. There's another reason. There's a massive overall speed gap. Number 3 is similar to, well, not number 3. I'm not sure what number I'm on because there's so many reasons. But another reason, based on speed again, like, Sukuna has elbows. And he's also faster than Yuuji Itadori in both combat and travel speed. Why didn't he just chop Itadori straight in the back with, or not straight in the back. I guess actually kind of straight in the back, because Yuuji swings back around. He grabs, then he goes full arc around. So he could literally just elbow Yuuji Itadori out of the way. Just straight, knock that bad boy aside. Knock him away. Because once again, he has a drastically higher combat speed. You could even argue the previous point and this point merged together, where Sukuna weaves the blade and then just smash and just boom, beats Yuuji Itadori through multiple buildings. So once again, massive speed gap, massive power gap. Yuuji Itadori has nothing to suggest he scales. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And once again, if you're like me, and you saw this man fire his most powerful attack, and Sukuna just, and I'm talking about the Piercing Blood. And yeah, there's no way Itadori Yuuji's tagging that man on a scaling front. But of course, enough of this scaling. Enough of these hypotheticals. Enough of established, like, Jujutsu concepts, like domain implications and all this stuff like that. Why would this not work on a character level? Because realistically, you could just let this slide. There's still that last finger out there. And realize, Ryoen Sukuna isn't picky. He could incarnate from any of them bad boys. Any of his fingers. Any of them. Any one of them. If he feels like incarnating from him, he can incarnate. And there's still that one last finger left. He doesn't know where it is, but it still exists. So Ryoen Sukuna could legitimately Yuuji stabs straight into him. Pierces straight into his big old muscular fleshy back. Sukuna goes, ah, and then he explodes. And we still have the one finger of Sukuna left, who could be used for whatever, whether it be for the merger, whether it be incarnating into his own character, anything like that. All that's fantastic. But my thing is, right? My thing is, at least on a character front, I don't think we'd get the full breadth of Sukuna if he were to lose 19 of his fingers plus the mummy here. I just don't think so. I think Sukuna still has so much more to show us in terms of his curse technique, in terms of his character, in terms of his abilities, in terms of how he wields the abilities, in terms of interaction with Yuuji Itadori, boiling down their entire dynamic to this one slash that, sure, doesn't completely erase the character because of that last finger, but pretty much, because he would perish, erases a majority of the character that we've been building up to for a while. I don't really see it. Another thing about the character stuff is that, sure, Yuuji Itadori will be the one who wielded the blade. Most certainly. He definitely get all the credit. You beat Sukuna? Oh, praise be to Yuuji Itadori. He's so free. But, like, that would be giving Higuruma way too much agency. I hate to say it, but realize that the fundamental core of this all, it would not be Sukuna striking down. Well, no, it would not. It could be Sukuna striking down Yuuji Itadori. It would not be Yuuji Itadori striking down Sukuna. It would be Yuuji Itadori wielding the weapon of a character who was introduced less than 100 chapters ago, taking out Ryomen Sukuna. A character who met Ryomen Sukuna that very same day. Sure, he met Yuuji, and Yuuji kind of looked like Sukuna, and he even got the information on Sukuna, but you want to tell me Higuruma being the main reason why Sukuna gets, and he just, I'm about to say horrible thing, he just disappears and apparates? You mean to tell me that would be satisfying? In any way, shape, and or form, on a character writing level? Like, sure, Yuuji getting a dub over Sukuna is something that everybody, well, not everybody, the Sukuna sloppers, they're like, hey, wait a minute, I kind of like this. But everyone outside the Sukuna sloppers, I think even they'd agree, no matter how much we despise Sukuna, though admittedly he's grown on me. He's grown on me a whole lot. But no matter how much we despise the king of curses, I think we can all agree, just on a narrative level, he's a bit too high for that. It's one of the main reasons why I'm straight, oh, this copium tastes fantastic. on Kenjaku still being alive and kicking and doing something else. Because, I don't know, talk about having such a big involvement in Kenny's downfall? Sukuna being made a victim by Higuruma? You're telling me Gojo Satoru couldn't get the dub, but you're gonna let Higuruma get the dub? Once again, even if it's on 19 fingers, the main reason Yuuji would have won is because of Higuruma. And sure, that's fine, the whole power friendship thing. But like, I don't know. It would feel like an anticlimactic way. And the thing is, it would go out with Sukuna never really facing an equal, or like anyone relative to him. It would just be, oh no, I slipped up this one time, and now I'm... And then there's no recourse from that. Sure, you can get one finger Sukuna, but like, if you think finger scaling is a thing, and like, he actually changes drastically every single finger he gets, one finger Sukuna is not a threat. If it becomes the merger, that's different. If it becomes the merger, then that's something entirely different. But one finger Sukuna isn't a threat. That man ain't nothing. Throw Maki at him. Throw Yuta at him. Throw Akari at him. If you think one finger Sukuna is just fodder, throw any of the heavy hitters. Check. Throw Yuuji at him. And sure, you can still get your comeuppance there, but I don't know. I feel like we kind of do need to see the full breadth of four-arm Sukuna. Especially considering outside of the merger, I don't know who else would be the host. Unless he comes back and gets Megami again by some sheer stroke of luck, I have no idea who would be the host for Sukuna. So, offering him here not only will be giving a character like Higuruma, one who was introduced very, very recently and has little to no connection with Ryomen Sukuna, an extremely amazing and next level and overpowering dub that would make almost every single character, including Gojo Satoru, feel irrelevant. But also, it would just slaughter any interesting fight dynamics that Sukuna could have had with Yuuji Itadori, or any extra abilities that Sukuna could have had access to thanks to all the extra fingers, or anything else. By offering Sukuna here, you give Higuruma too much and take away too much from Sukuna. Whether it be presence, execution, ability, showcasing the power, all that. And I just don't think that's worth it. And even then, once again, I am fine with Yuuji Itadori being responsible for the final blow. I'm even fine with the idea of Jump Kaisen helping Yuuji Itadori be responsible for the final blow. And this technically is a case of Jump Kaisen, but I don't know. I would want it be UT. I want it to be Yuuji Itadori's last punch that takes out Sukuna, or a last kick, or a last something, not a blade he got from somebody else. That's whack. I don't like it. And once again, on a plot standard, I guess ironically enough, the plot standard is the only way this kind of would work. Because like, once again, we're running into the issue of Sukuna being way too strong. And if we take another win con off the table, what are we supposed to do now? Like, that's the only real issue on a plot level. But outside of that, I don't know. I just don't see the vision on a narrative level, on a character level, well, kind of on a narrative level, because if you want the story to progress, you kind of need to get rid of Sukuna somehow, and this is a pretty decent way to do it. But like, based on what's been established about the character's abilities, based on what's been established about the characters themselves, based on the existing character dynamics, I just do not see it being satisfying for Yuuji, for us as readers, for Sukuna himself, and then nobody would be satisfied by this. And once again, it would send Higuruma stocks through the roof. But I don't think that investment, or that return on investment, that ROI, is worth it. However, that's what I think. Please let what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think there's any chance this would work? Do you think there are even more reasons why it shouldn't work, or why it can't work? Please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave the King's Penalty in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Akid's Void. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, Demix LND, and Igneal. And I'd like to give a chunky old thank you to our $7 member, Autumn's Morning Lazo. And I'd like to give another chunka thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, Idemokami, Yuki, and China Doll 09. I'd like to give a hefty thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give another giga gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.